Hi, I'm the Busy Bee Mom. Welcome to my sewing room. It's been ages since I made a video. In fact, my sewing room probably looks different because it's switched to a different floor in my house instead of the basement. I'm now on the second floor. When your kids grow up and move out, you get to move rooms around. So we are right now in the middle of the pandemic for COVID-19, and I have been making COVID-19 balls. I'm stuck at home quarantined because my normal job is a special ed associate at a school. Of course, school's out, so all the kids are home. I don't get to see them. But my sister's a doctor, and I jokingly said to her, I had this weird craving to make one of these because every time you watch the news, they show this in the background. It's like the big shot of it. And I was like, I still want to crochet one of those, but what would I do with it? And she's like, give it to me. I'll hang it at my clinic. So my sister's a doctor. She works, she runs a little family practice in a small town here in Iowa. So far, they've had 0 cases in her county, knock on wood. I know the reality is it's probably going to hit, but so far we're okay. So been making these. I'm going to send some for her to Good Luck. She's going to hang them on her, she's got like a sneeze guard in front of her receptionist. She had to kind of rearrange her clinic and do different entrances and different more protective equipment for her staff. So these will maybe bring a little smile to her face and encourage her and her staff as they battle this pandemic and do what they can. So I'm going to walk you through just through the steps of how I came up with the pattern and how I do it. So hopefully this brings a little smile to your face at this time, and I'll see you on the other side. So we're going to get through this. Alright, the first thing you need to do is find a pattern to make a sphere. I'm using the Ideal Sphere pattern. It's by someone named Miss Premise Conclusion. Well, that's her website's name. Anyway, she's got a website here. I found this on Pinterest. If you get on Pinterest, they have tons of ball patterns. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel because they've already done it. She actually uses a mathematical formula. So if you're a math geek, you can get on and follow the steps of how she comes up with her sphere patterns. They do look pretty good. And she's got on there, she starts with row 10 sphere, and I printed up, she goes all the way up to, what, 30 row sphere. So this one I think was a 14, 16, and was a 22? Yeah, I think so. 20. Anyway, 12, 16, 20. So, and I just used some scrap yarn I found in my bin. It just looks like your standard, probably Red Heart yarn. And I used, what is this? G hook. So, G, H, somewhere around that size. It works pretty good. Now, her instructions, I get really confused when I read her instructions, because she has like, sorry, you can't see that. She has like 1, increase, 2, increase, 2, increase, 2, increase, 1. I rewrite that so that every line I know what I'm doing. So stitch 1 is regular, but stitch 2 is an AB stitch. That's a double crochet. 3 and 4 are regular. 5 is an AB. So I had to kind of rewrite all of hers in my own shorthand so I could keep track of what I was doing. But anyway, find a ball pattern that makes sense to you, that you can read, you can understand. And then I'm going to show you how to do the single crochet, a chain, an increase, and a decrease. And even, I guess. Yeah, that's just a single crochet. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, for demonstration purposes, I switched to some really thick yarn and a really big hook, just so it's easier for you to see. So when we start, we're going to do a chain. Now, when I've done animals and creatures before, I did a different starting method, and I can't remember how I did it, but this pattern says to do it this way, and it's really easy. So if this contradicts what I've taught before, sorry, that was years ago. People change. So, okay, you just do a little loop, and you want it to be big enough that your crochet hook will fit through it. So you're going to chain 2. To do a chain, you wrap it around and bring it through. Wrap it around and bring it through. I did that twice. That's 2 chain. Now, we're going to do a single crochet in the whole right before the hole I just made. So single crochet, you go in, around, and then through both of those. We're going to do that 6 times. That was one. We're going to go in our hole, bring this through, go around, and bring it through both of those. 2. At some point you just kind of go over your knot. Don't worry about that. 3. I keep pulling it too tight. There's a knot in my thread. Ah. Okay, 3. Where were we? 4. 5. 6. So you've done 6. So when you get done, you should have 6 stitches, and they're going to look like that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that must be from previously. So mental note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the first one. Now, we're going to show you, that's just your basic single crochet stitch. Let me look at my directions real quick. And that's usually marked on your pattern with an SC. So it might say 3SC, or well, actually right now it just said 6SC. So we did 6 single crochet. My next row though, it wants me to do what's called an increase stitch, which is basically 2 single crochet in the same spot. And it wants me to do that all the way around. So I'm going to do 6 increase stitches. And I always count AB, because I'm going to do 2 stitches in my first loop. So 1 A, and then 1 B is in the same hole. And then I'm going to do a 2A, and a 2B, and I'm going to do that all the way till I get to 6, because remember we had 6 stitches. 6A and B. Now we started with 6 holes, but we did 2 stitches in each of those 6, so now we should have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, I must have skipped one. We're just going to put another one. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, we'll just add another one real quick, because somewhere I must have done only an A. I think I did a stitch, but I said AB when I did 1 stitch, so. So it should be 12. Now, usually when you're following a pattern, like, see it said row 1, and that parentheses at the end is 6, that's how many stitches I end up with. And I just did the increase in each stitch around. So now I have, that's what that parentheses is I should have 12 stitches. Now row 3, I'm going to just do a single crochet, then an increase, and I'm going to repeat that pattern. So it would be a 1, a 2AB, 3, 4AB, a 5, 6AB, anyway, all the way to 12. So, right, that's basically, so a single crochet, you just do 1 stitch in the hole. But if it's increase, you're going to do 2 stitches in the hole. And that's how it gradually gets bigger. So this is my increase, I'm going to do 2 there. So when you're starting, you're just basically doing a pattern. It's basically just how many stitches you put in the same hole. It's the same stitch. You just go in, you pull it through, and you pull it through. That's your basic stitch. If you're doing an increase though, you do it twice in each hole. If you're doing a regular, you do it once. Now, once you get halfway to your ball and you start coming down the other side, pretty much in the middle you'll just have some rows that are plain stitches, no increasing or decreasing. But when you get down to the other side, you have to start decreasing. So how do you decrease? You're going to do that, and then you're going to do it again in the next hole. So basically you're pulling those two holes together. That's a decrease stitch. Let me show you that again. So instead of doing, you're going to start a stitch in one hole, and you're going to start the stitch in the next hole, and then you're going to pull those together. See how it's making it smaller? So that's basically all patterns that where you're making animals or figures or, you know, everything from I can't think, an ice cream cone to a lobster to whatever you're trying to make. It's a series of increasing and decreasing stitches to make it grow and shrink and grow and shrink. So that's how you increase and decrease and do a single crochet. I'm going to go ahead and make my ball using my pattern, and then I'll show you how I did the little spiky things on it. Okay, I'm going to show you how to put the nub things on your ball, because I got the ball all done. I'm going to take a chunk of thread, and I've got probably 2 or 3 yards here, so you want a big piece. Normally when you would do something like this, you would make each of these individual. You'd end up with a whole pile of them, and then you would have to attach all of them. I come up with a different way to do this. So you're actually going to make them on the ball, but you need a big chunk of your yarn. I chose a kind of a dark red color. At the other end, you're going to do 2 knots kind of on top of each other. There's one, just your standard. 2, well, they end up next to each other, but that's okay. All right, so I got my needle on one hand, my knot on the other. Here's my ball. Now I like to work in a triangular shape pattern, so imagine I just started. I did one, I did another one, and then I'm going to do a third one, triangular, to make a triangle. And I just keep doing that all over. I make one, another, and I just keep bopping around trying to make triangles. So I could go here, I could go there. Yeah, that's a little wonky, but it doesn't have to be precise. So looking at these two, I think I want to come up about there. So I just stuck it in over here. A little tug to get my knot through, and hopefully, yep, it grabbed. I got a little tail hanging out. I could cut that off, but I could also just stick my needle in and pull it under. So now, set that to the side. You can leave the needle on there. Usually it doesn't go anywhere. I'm using just a fat, blunt tip needle. It's not sharp. All right, now we're going to go in a hole right next to where we came up. We're going to pull it through. Let's show you that one more time. We're going to go in a hole somewhere next to it, loop it around, pull it through. Now we're going to do a chain. We're going to chain 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is a lot like starting when we first started our circle. Then we're going to go in one of these loops, just down, and we're going to chain or single crochet. Let's do 4. Single crochet 1. This yarn isn't really tightly woven, it's hard to get it all. And a 2. And a 3. And a 4. We're going to go 2 more, but now instead of doing it in that loop, we're going to go to one of the first stitches in our chain. So can you see we have a circle here? And we've just been going in the same spot, but we want to go now, do 2 more in kind of that first stitch of on our chain. just find a spot and put a stitch in. That'll work. And we're going to do 2 more there. 1, 2. And that helps your stem not be coming out the side. This way your stem's more coming out kind of the middle of your circle. All right, should have a kind of a little circle now. It's kind of hard to see, it's so little. We're gonna, got that loop, back to your needle. You're gonna stick the needle through the loop, pull all that thread through. And pull that tight. Now, because it's kind of wonky, I like to do one more stitch just in the side of my circle here. Alright, so I've got a circle. You just kind of fiddle with it until it looks good. And now I want to go down through the center. I want to come out where the stem is. So right now my stem's a little floppy and I want to make it stronger. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in through the top of the stem and then wrap it around and go in again. I'm just going to keep going up. So I'm going to just wrap some stitches around basically one side of the stem as I go down, and that's going to give it a little bit more strength and so it's not so floppy. I think it needs a couple more. You're right. That's how I figured out to make the stem stronger so it doesn't just lay flat. So it kind of stands up. When you're done, you can just stick your needle in. It's all ragged, isn't it? And I actually think I need one more right there, but I don't have enough yarn. But I would just stick my needle in if I was done, like there, and then trim that off. I'm going to get some more thread and put one more in there. Alright, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to put orange dots all over it. If you look very closely at the image, they have these little orange, I think I lost one there, little orange dots, pairs of dots. So, same thing, get yourself some orange yarn, put some knots in it. This is really thick. I had some different orange, but I can't figure out where it went. I had just enough left to do this. Well, we'll see if this works. Well, at least I get to show you what to do. Alright. So go in, come up in a spot. It's not real busy. And then I was making just a knot. As my cord wraps around everything it possibly can. Make a knot nice tight down. And then I'm going to go back. But I'm not going to go back in the same hole because it'll pop through. Just right next to it. And then come up really close by. These dots are pretty close together. And do another knot. And this is all there is to the orange dots. This is the quick part. Find a spot. And then I'm going to go over and come up in another area. There you go. And then you'll have your little pairs of orange dots. It's not looking very round. Alright, so all I need to do is put a bunch of more orange dots in. I think I need one more stem right there. And my ball will be done. And I'm up to 4. So I think I'm going to get these in the mail today. My little cluster of viruses, and send them off to my sister with good wishes. I just realized yesterday that she is now volunteering at the local hospital on the COVID floor. So keep her in my prayers, as we're going to keep everyone who's working on the front lines defeating this. So you have a good day, and someday we're going to look back on this and be like, wow, I can't believe we survived that. Have a good one.